My guest for today is Dr. Oye Owolewa. You are a Nigerian American politician, pharmacist. You are a member of the Democratic Party. In 2020 November, you were elected as the shadow representative of the House of Representatives for District of Columbia. Can you tell us more about yourself?
Yes, thank you so much for having me here. My name is Dr. Oye Owolewa. I'm a healthcare worker, a pharmacist. I'm also a child of Nigerian American parents. Upon graduating from pharmacy school, I moved down to Washington, D.C., where I started getting involved in getting kids interested in science, and that got me into politics. Now I'm here fighting for D.C. statehood through my role as U.S. representative, and I'm glad to be in my role for another term.
My question is, what are your constitutional duties as the shadow congressman for the nation's capital?
Yes, our role is predicated on fighting for D.C. statehood. Right now, D.C. residents are the only people living on continental U.S. without voting rights. So we talk to Congress about voting rights, we go to other states, and we also provide resources for D.C. residents.
There is something confusing. You are a congressman, at the same time you cannot vote. Can you tell us what is the role of the district exactly in the politician life of the state?
Yeah, absolutely. The role of the representative is to just increase the awareness and support for statehood. We recently went to other states like West Virginia, now Texas, passing or introducing, rather, D.C. statehood resolutions. That way people all across this country know about what we're going through in D.C. and how what granting us our voting rights can do to improve their lives.
You were devoted and you're supposed to lobby the United States government to transform D.C. as a state. Will this happen one day?
I truly believe so. Right now, we need the House to pass a D.C. statehood bill, which has done so in the past. We need the Senate to also approve it, and then the President to sign it. Recently, we have a President right now in Joe Biden who actually supports D.C. statehood. So what we need to do is just make sure we get a bill onto his desk so it can really allow us to get the rights we deserve.
How you describe the state of politics in the district right now, nowadays?
Right now, I think that we are trying to do the best we can. Public safety is the #1 issue in the district. In our office, we actually launched something called the expungement clinics to help returning citizens not only get their records cleared, learn the process, but also get jobs to improve our public safety. In terms of, on a global scale, in terms of D.C., right now, we are having our bills meddled by Congress. You know, we have House Republicans coming in and spiking our bills, squashing it, and really interfering with our local autonomy, the way we are able to govern ourselves. So in this role, we're also trying to make sure that Congress stays out of our business and make sure we're able to live the lives that we want to live.
We start this interview talking about your background. Can you tell us how the Nigerian American community is influential and powerful in D.C. especially?
That's a great question. As you know, my story begins in the United States. My story begins in another country, and me being the first Nigerian American ever elected into a U.S. representative has brought a lot of attention, not only countrywide but globally. So we try to use my example and my improbable candidacy in victory to really shine the light on D.C. statehood, and a lot of people who otherwise wouldn't have paid attention to statehood are now becoming statehood champions.
Do we have a problem here? Is D.C. losing its population by moving, people are moving to the suburbs in Virginia and Maryland? Can you explain what's going on, what's happening?
Yes, we have a huge issue with people being displaced. People who were born and raised in D.C. no longer being able to afford it. What we did in our office is launch something called the Capital Business Seminar that teaches local business owners, teaches minority business owners how to access capital through the government, whether it's grants, contracts, certifications, so they can not only benefit themselves but also their community. In addition, a lot of people are pouring out of D.C., but also some people are coming into the D.C. So we're trying to make sure that regardless if you've been here for one day or for 20 years or your entire life, that D.C. is a place that you can live, you can love, and also be safe in.
Can you tell us about the economic life in D.C.? Is the district doing better than other communities, especially after the impact of coronavirus?
Yeah, D.C. remains an economic hub. Right now, we're proud to announce that the Washington Capitals and the Wizards are staying in the district, but we're also trying to make sure that people in D.C. have that semblance of the American dream. Housing prices are really expensive. It's getting more and more expensive to live in DC. I feel like every time I walk out the door, money falls out of my pocket. But we're really trying to make sure that people can stay in DC. We're teaching kids careers that can allow them to afford to be in DC, and we're really trying to make sure that we're setting up DC for the right path, whether it's 10, 15, 20 years from now.
Let me tell our audience about your career. You started by being elected to the advisory neighborhood commissions. What do these political bodies do in the local politics in the capital's nation?
Absolutely. Before I get to what an ANC is, that very first race is special to me because coming in with a different name, they said you can't win in DC or in an area that they can't pronounce, and we won our very first race by one single vote. So if anybody ever tells you that every vote matters, let me be the picture of it. But as an advisory neighborhood commission, what we basically are, or what I used to be, is the go between the community and the DC Council. DC Council lets us know what legislations come down the pike, and we tell the community, and the community gives us the advice, and we carry it through. So we're basically a grassroots, unpaid middle person between the local government and the group, and the community.
Tell us about your elections. There is election in 2 months. Are you running again?
Yes, the future is June 4th. Our election is about 2 months away, depending on when we air. But we're really trying to make sure not only we are viable candidates, but make sure that people see the work being done in this office. You know, this work is dedicated on DC statehood, but statehood affects every part of life in DC, whether it's our public safety, our education, the way we're able to make money. And what we try to do in this role is try to address those things.
Finally, can we have a word about Mayor Bowser's work and the dedication to the country, especially to DC?
Yeah, I mean, right now she just announced that the Washington Capitals and the Washington Wizards are staying here in the DC, which is really important. She's in her third term, and we're really trying to make sure the things that we pass in the council, things that the mayor support, are free from congressional interference.
What is your assessment for the elections coming in November 2024? Is there any predictions? How you are seeing things is going on?
I think young people are critical in this upcoming election. Last cycle in 2022, more than 50% of people under 30 cast a vote. That is unprecedented numbers, and we see that that's an important thing. Soon, we're actually going to go to Howard University and actually having adopt a voting center precinct on campus. It's going to be the first time they ever had an on-campus voting registration drive and voting center. And what we're really trying to do is make sure that not only young people vote, but they see themselves as people who can run for office. It's really important to have young people really involved in this process so we can talk about student debt, climate change, public safety in a different way. And it's really important that folks who are able to vote do exercise that right.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Oye Owolewa, I thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for your time. You are on a track of great success. Congratulations and thank you.
Thanks so much for having me.